All right, have and have not fans. Now, I'm sorry for the delay in my videos after the enemy called trust last Tuesday. I just wanted to say that between work, it's a crunch time in the office because school is starting up for online students and residential students next Monday. So it's been a week full of overtime and just I work in a call center. So with that being said, my voice, I haven't been sick, but I did not want to strain my voice because of work being so intense over the past week. That's why I'm just now posting videos after last Tuesday's haves and have nots. But luckily enough, it's a Sunday while I'm recording. This is just one of, let me count it. I'm looking at my list. I have at least 7 videos to record today on the 27th. Reason being is because 28th I worked a 1 to 10 shift at my job, and again, first day of classes is going to be really intense for nothing but phone calls. So I know that I have to come to work with my voice intact. Not to mention after a long day of working, when I get off at 10 p.m., I know my voice is not going to be up to par to do some videos. And on top of that, August 29th, which is this coming Tuesday, and I'm actually off work that day because I got to work on the 2nd of September. So I got to work on Saturday, but I'm off Tuesday, which is good for a couple reasons. Number one, after that hectic 1 to 10 shift on the 28th, I'm going to need some time to relax. Number two, of course, we get another episode of the Haves and the Have-Nots. I believe it's called Kate. And 3, is my birthday. August 29th is my birthday. I turned 26 years old and I'm really excited. Not so much about getting older, but the fact that, I get a relaxing day off my birthday. I got the haves and the have-nots to look forward to that night. And yeah, so I just wanted to go ahead and do these videos now. So on Tuesday, I can just fully relax, go out, get some IHOP pancakes. Apparently you get free pancakes on your birthday. That's what the word is on the street. So with that being said, just know that this is one of many videos I have to record at once. So some of these videos I might be taking short water breaks, like I'll, take a pause, let me get a sip of water. So it's not going to be a recurring thing, but just know that if it happens, that's why, because I'm doing so much at once. So with all that being said, I just want to say that this video, I didn't feel like doing an episode review. When I say I didn't feel like it, I'm not saying that because I was lazy, and it was a good episode. Don't get me wrong. It was a good episode. Personally speaking, I feel that last week's episode, I believe the episode was called Haunted by a Surname. I feel that that episode was better than the episode we got last week with the shootout. Again, don't get me wrong. I love the episode, but I feel like the previous week's episode was better in my opinion. I felt like that episode was really strong. I'm not saying it was the perfect episode, but I feel like it was the closest thing to the best, if not the best episode we got so far this season. To me, ironically enough, the theme of this video is about Wyatt. I feel like the Wyatt scene was probably the weakest part of this episode, this past week, because remember the previous week, we got some, scene between him and Anna, just talking to each other. We got some insight into Wyatt's character in terms of who he wanted to be, what he wanted to be when he was a kid. But this week, it was just like, Wyatt, please sit. This week, pretty much, and again, I pay attention to social media. Wyatt was getting no love this week at all. Pretty much, it was like, everybody was like, they need to kill off Wyatt. Why is he still here? Write him off the show, put him in a rehab somewhere. And that's why this title of the video is going to be called Will Wyatt, I mean, this is a working title. Maybe I'll change it before this, by the time I post it. But will Wyatt's words hold up in court after everything he's talking to with the DA about in terms of the vengeance or the animosity between the DA, or previous DA Jennifer and Catherine and Jim, the net worth of his parents, the fact that, they've been abused, in the list go. I'm not even going to talk about everything that Wyatt, put it this way. I even posted on Twitter, like, somebody needs to get a roll of paper towels because Wyatt's just spilling tea all over Savannah, Georgia, dumping out all this business. So there's no telling where he might even mention the Harringtons. I don't know. All I'm saying is bet money when it comes down to the actual court date, when he goes to court and, tries to testify and whatnot, or the DA even uses some quotes and pretty much all the details that Wyatt is giving him. I mean, honestly, this video might not be super long, but here's my thing. Bet money that none of it's going to hold up in court. Why? Because, you know, if it's the criers or Veronica defending Catherine or whatever the case may be, the easiest way to nip it in the bud is just say he's a recovering addict. That's all it takes. As soon as somebody mentions that, the word is going to be, you know, null and void, because number one, there's no attorney, you know, he has no lawyer or any kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Lawful, you know, pretty much an agent of the law on his side that can verify, you know, what he's saying, because the fact that he's spilling all this information to the DA in a kind of an off the books meeting is almost the same as, you know, those Secret Service guys, you know, interrogating Benny's, taking his DNA while his lawyer or attorney isn't there. So I feel like even if this stuff is brought up in court and the DA is like, well, you know, Wyatt Cryer talked about how his parents had, you know, bad blood with Jennifer, and that's because, you know, of, you know, cases lost in the past, or the fact that he got his inheritance even though his parents didn't want him to have it. You know, the list will go on, but they'll just say, well, how can you believe anything he says? He was a recovering addict. You know, even his rehab facilitator was in the room, and, you know, you saw Anna's face when the DA was like, okay, so Wyatt, what did you want? And again, I'm not trying to mock him, because I'm just trying to, you know, just project his voice. But I remember seeing some tweets like, that DA looks like he's supposed to be in high school. I got a guy at my job who's, you know, the same ethnicity as the DA. He looks like a teenager, but he's literally like 32. It caught me off guard, you know, but hey, that's how it looked. That's how he sounds. That's not the point. The point is that really this meeting that went down and all this intel he's getting is probably going to fall apart, because again, you could look at Anna's face when the DA was like, so what do you have to tell me about your parents? Or what were you going to tell me about your parents? And Wyatt was just about to spill it all. And then Anna's face was a look of concern, because to me, I felt like it was somewhat pain, because after everything that, well, it hasn't been that long, but put it this way, it seemed like she was breaking through to Wyatt in terms of, you know, reaching down to tell, especially after last week's episode of the whole, you know, scene about being a fireman and whatnot. And then Wyatt learning about Anna, and pretty much in a way, to me, he was starting to realize that, okay, maybe I don't have it as bad as I thought, because there are people out there who have it worse with their parents. But for him to just willingly just throw it all out there to get his parents in trouble, it's kind of like, really, dude? Really? So here's my thing, and again, this is just kind of a shoe into another video I did about Amanda, you know, being a wasted character. Honestly, instead of killing her off the show, like, they should have just written her off temporarily, you know, have her being locked away in an institution like Catherine wanted. Same with Wyatt, you know, him being in a rehab or something like that, because at the moment he really doesn't have much to add to the plot. If anything, he's just causing more unnecessary drama for, you know, his parents to deal with. It's almost like this, you know, it's almost, and this is, if you go back to season 1 to now, this is pretty much how the show goes in terms of like the issues that characters have. I'm sorry about that. I'm actually sitting in a new chair and it's kind of squeaking. I don't know if you can hear it, but really when it comes down to it, you just think of the fact that when a character, let's say Jim or David, because, you know, they're like a tag team back in the day, you know, early series, you know, they'll handle one problem. It's almost like, you know, they're putting out one fire, but then they don't even see the massive inferno behind them. Put it this way. This is a good analogy because it just occurred. Imagine that Jim and David drive up to Jim's house and, oh no, the car caught on fire. So those two are working together to put the fire out. Okay, everything's good. Right when they're about to douse those flames, they don't even notice that the house behind them is fully engulfed in flames. That's the show. That's the show. It's like, why, you know, if he like threw a lighter in the inside of the house, starting to cause his own trouble, and then it, you know, trouble for his parents. That's how the show is. You know, right when somebody thinks they're out of the woods, it's like, oh gosh, we finally put an end to this problem. Next thing you know, something even bigger pops up, like, you know, Jennifer Sallison's body, then the house being, you know, burned down, and now Wyatt's causing his own trouble, you know, with the DA. So there's just so it's just, there's no tell. I mean, given the fact that the show is ending in mid 2020, it's like, it's hard to see how they're going to put out so many fires between now and then and come to a conclusive ending. So really, this video is just me kind of, you know, pointing out the fact that Wyatt is pretty much causing more drama, that I really feel Veronica or somebody else will just shut down, because they'll say it's like, oh, well, actually, if I'm not mistaken, he didn't even tell the DA that Anna was, his rehab facilitator, so to speak, or he was strung out on drugs. It's pretty much, oh, that's not my girlfriend. It's just a friend. So that really does show me that in the courtroom, Veronica or Catherine or somebody will point out that he's on drugs or something, or was an addict or is an addict. He's a recovering addict. And then Veronica, you can even pull up paperwork for the time that he was actually in her facility. So I feel like even though Wyatt's going to tell it all, it's almost like the Bachelor or the Bachelorette, the men or the women tell all. Like he's going to tell all. It's not going to hold up in court. So I feel like it's almost like that scene where Jennifer came to the Crier house to interrogate the Criers and the Harringtons, but it was off the book, so it really had no effect. Or the time when Wyatt was arrested, held in the interrogation room, he talked about some stuff about the Little Lizzie case, but again, the fact that he had no attorney and the fact that he was kid trying to get attention because his sister died, or he was on drugs or alcohol, it held up. It didn't hold up in the court. So I feel the same scenario is going to happen now. I feel like they're just kind of dragging it on. That's why I feel like Wyatt's getting a lot of hate right now. Not to mention the little scene between him and Justin. So I don't really know why Wyatt didn't just bust out the truth to say, hey, this guy's a freak, he's stalker, so you need to watch out for this cop. And I don't know. Maybe that's a plot line for later on in the series, but I don't know. We know that Justin tagged along only to see the Crier kid again and even question, oh, that's your girlfriend, because he's jealous, a stalker. I'm not even going to get into it. We all know. So with that being said, what do you think? Do you think that Wyatt, dumping all this tea on his parents or about his parents to the DA will hold up in court? Do you think that Veronica or somebody else will shut it down? And let's be honest here, 100% honest. Do you think Wyatt should be written off the show?